Welcome to this month's webinar, everybody. My name is Ash, and I'm still in Asia, as I was last month. So drinking lousy coffee. I'm 2,000 kilometers away from my adorable coffee machine. Beach volleyball crew there at Mooloolaba, still playing here locally. Not as enjoying it as much as I do at home, to be honest. Cup of coffee? Let's dive in. So this month, we're talking about eliminating silos. So that's managing functions, all the functions in the business, balancing the strategic versus ongoing work, so some tricks around doing that, really rapidly reducing your onboarding time. We're talking hours or days, and I'll show you a real example, and making remote, hybrid, and cross-border work effective for individuals and the teams and the whole company, because that's the way of the future. So next slide. So if you think about your strategy, you're building that out as a strategy tree, and here's an example for a product company like ours. We want to build a unicorn, of course, and then that tree, you'll cascade your plan down in typically 3 to 6 levels at each point, at each level in the tree, 3 to 6 at each level in the tree. So in our case, it's all about generating leads, of course, converting them from the freemium, innovating the product, and scaling operations. And you can keep building your tree down. Nothing new. What's particularly new with what I'm going to show you today is how there's a workspace at each node in the tree. And that's how you manage the strategy execution, or if you like, join the execution to the strategy, because anyone can come up with a plan, set of ideas. That's easy. It's all about execution, and you well know that. So building your strategy as a tree, use verb noun, as you've heard me say before, and then at each node in the tree, stratapp creates this digital workspace for you. So you're immediately connected to the execution, everything, tasks, workboards, ideas, challenges, risks, all at your fingertips at each node. And this becomes your cross-functional experience to execute strategy. So pro tip number one, you should be just building one tree for the company, if it's a company of under, say, 1,500 employees, or per division or business unit. And the app is powered by Org Design. So I might show you that first so you can see that. And that powers all the filters. So you can look at a strategy tree from a company-wide point of view, or a division, business unit, country, et cetera, or a particular function as well. But generally, you try and build one tree per company or one tree per grouping of about 1,500 employees, up to 1,500. So the first unique thing, workspace at each node in the tree. And then, like any other business, you'll set your objectives, usually quarterly. Some startups might do it monthly, but generally you'll set your objectives and key results quarterly, and they'll hang off the tree. So the second unique thing is when you're setting those, people know why they exist, what the context is. So I'm working on this objective this quarter because it's part of generating leads. And I'll show you a practical example that's real to our company this quarter. So that's the second thing that's unique. So you're not just setting OKRs, they're actually hanging off the tree. Pro tip number two, it's not all cascading. So you'll find different quarters, you're working on different aspects of the tree. So this quarter for us, it's very much about innovating the product. We've got a new release coming next quarter. So our OKRs, as you'll see in the example, are driven off that innovating the product, that point in the tree right there. So the next thing that's unique is below your, I'll just turn the aircon off, making noise. Below your OKRs, all the work is connected. So this is all taking place in one experience. So it's not like you're setting objectives or you're making your strategy tree, your plan, you're having a quarterly away day or your annual, if you still do annual. It's a bit outdated. Doing the annual review is good, but annual planning is a bit outdated. Tends to be, should be happening in real time all the way through the year, and then you're doing review check-ins. That's more of the way these days, the speed of change and learning, innovation. So within the same app, all of the execution is taking place, and you can hang these also below the tree. There's no rules, and as you create the content, the hierarchies are automatically formed based on how you are choosing to work. But with those content hierarchies, pre-configured modules, so you got risk module, idea module, workboard module, everything's pre-configured, so you're not having to create these, so it's all pre-configured for you, the strategy tree, OKRs, etc. And then as you add things, you're creating your own content hierarchy that's unique to your business. So this also becomes key for not just managing strategic work. You can use the same framework to manage one-off initiatives, right? So you can have say a workboard there with tasks and things below it. I'll show you an example. So that could be for a one-off initiative. And then also you can create workboards by functions. And there's nothing new about that. That's been around, maybe for some people 10 years. What's particularly new here is the hierarchy of content that's created below the workboard. So you might have a outbound marketing workboard, and below on that workboard, there's a task, and then to execute that task, you're creating a bunch of things below it. That's what's particularly new. And the fact that it has context, it's pointing to an objective or something on the strategy tree. So you're connecting all levels of the company. And even if you're only 20 or 30 employees, connecting all levels becomes really important if you're going to scale without chaos and succeed, right? So time is your most precious resource. So everyone's seeing what's going on, everyone working with the context, faster decision making. That's the secret, and that's the next generation. That's why we call this next gen digital workspace. Okay, that's enough on theory. Let's jump in and have a look at each of those elements in practice. So I'll exit the slides. Enough on slides, right? So here we are. So I'm inside stratapp. You've got the navigation down the left, and you'll see the product matches the marketing story, right? So you've strategy, OKRs, risk management, ideation, combined workspace, bringing all these things together, and then social around work. So won't have time on this webinar, but that's really moving you away from chat channels and all of the conversations being organized around the work. Saves you about half a day a week. Super powerful. You'll see it on some other webinars we've done previously. Let's stick to the agenda. I said I'd start by showing you the org design. So I'll just go to the avatar and I'll go across to teams. So there's, if you want to get into theory, 11 attributes of org design. 4 of them are on this page, and then another 2 are built into the app. So most companies will have functions and geography, even if you're 2 people, 5 people, right? So you'll have how you're organized internally, externally, by functions or departments, older expression, and then also geography. So this is our actual org for stratapp. This is how we're organized, right? And then we're selling into these verticals. You can see we've got partners as consulting firms, we've got technology firms. We're doing a 1 sector focus on sales into fellow product companies, which I'm loving because you're getting to meet like-minded people who quickly get the app and the opportunity. So that's been really good for us. And then you may have horizontal teams. So they're working across all of these across the company. So if I go back to my Accenture days, we had consulting horizontals, we had market verticals, and then consulting horizontals and outsourcing horizontals, which worked across all verticals, all functions. And importantly, you might wear more than one hat, right? So you sit in one geography typically, but you might be in 2 market verticals, 1 or 2 horizontals, etc. So the reason we have this in the app is it powers all of the collaboration. So if you're having a meeting, you can say, hey, I just want the product team that's in the Philippines on this meeting. Boom, 1 second. Don't have to remember their names. You include everyone, you don't forget them. And it also powers the filters in the app. So you can look at strategy, as I mentioned before, from this perspective. And you can also look at OKRs, workboards, everything else. So it powers all the filters through the app. So it really saves you a lot of time. It amazes me that org design doesn't drive all social collaboration tech, and it's just still a relatively new thing. We've built it into even social messaging, right? I've got a quick question for the marketing team in the US. Anyone know about this? Bang, take you 2 seconds in stratapp to do that. So back on point. So that drives the collaboration and inclusion. And then here I am on the strategy tree. So this is our strategy tree. And I mentioned to you this quarter for us, it's all about innovating product and particularly designing, building this freemium we're creating for individuals. And at any point in the tree, as I said before, it creates its own workspace. So there it is there. So you can see I've let the team know that this is where the design work's taking place, and then ping here's asked me a question, right? So yes, they can is my answer. So you'll see already the social has structure, very important, and it's nested conversations. So it makes it really quick to go to decisions, approvals, questions, ideas, risk. 11 points on, I can show you actually. So you'll see there's 11 tagging, and these also roll up into the filters and that social around work concept, which I'm not going to show you on this webinar, but you'll see that elsewhere. Okay, so we've got this workspace here, everything that's going on, and it's everything I'll show you today. You'll notice it's the same user experience. You'll see that. And here we can see we've set this objective to really create this and get it ready to launch and launch it by December. And we're going to have it live in the market, soft launch in September is the plan. So this is our objective, and everything going on here is at our fingertips. So if I don't need that. So if I go here to the OKRs page, and I'll just collapse them, you can see there's that objective. So we've got this dashboard page of OKRs. And again, you'll see this in this one page, you'll see in about 8 other apps on the market. What's different here is a few things. So first of all, this is pointing at the strategy tree. So as I showed you before, your objectives have context. So why are we running that initiative? Well, we've got a strategic action to really test that concept. Why are we doing this? Well, at the end of the day, strategic goal, sub-goal to launch this freemium for individuals. So therefore, this quarter, we're actually going to build it and get it done. So if I expand that out, you can see we've got a number of key results for the quarter. And then as these change in progress, if I was to move this along and update it, you'll see the progress move slightly up above it. I'll just move that back so we don't overstate the progress. So that one is, what was it, 10? Yeah, can change the number there. So yeah, so that needs a little bit of attention. Everything else I can see is on track for the quarter, and I can see I'm the owner of those. So first thing that's unique, this is pointing at the strategy tree. Second thing that's unique, in one click, we have a digital space here again. Same user experience you saw off the strategy tree. So it gets familiar as you go through the app. And now we're all collaborating here on this objective. And we can go in here and I can add a meeting. I can quickly add a meeting and say, let's check in on time management progress. So this new part of the app we're building. And as I said before, it's all powered by org design. So I could say, let's have everyone in the Philippines on this call, and I add them and bang, no users found. Haha, typical. I've probably got them in the subcategories. But anyway, you saw how easy it is. So that's how it would work, right? So I could go function, everyone in marketing plus everyone in, I could do sales as well, or product, and add them here, and they would be added onto the list, right? So that's how we collaborate. Anonymous gavel, bunch of features in here, gender clock, timing. So this is live collaboration included through org design. And you can see this meeting now belongs to this objective. So we're working our way down the tree. The purpose of this webinar is to just give you that high level view of managing strategic versus ongoing work. So this is your strategy. So very easy, doesn't matter what size company you are, to build your strategy as a tree. So if we go back to the hierarchy, we've got 4 goals, and this goal breaks down to these sub goals. Remember I said 3 to 6. So we're all working on the strategy here. So everything happening is at each node, you can see here. And then each quarter, in our case, our company, we set objectives for the quarter. We can see we're already, this has got a longer period for the objective, but we've got key results for this quarter, even though the objective has a longer period. So we're typically setting out what we want to achieve by quarter. So that's the strategic perspective. Now let's look at daily work. So first of all, daily work comprises 2 things, right? You've got the ongoing work of your functions, and then you've got initiatives. So let's have a look at functions first. So I'll go to the workspace and I'll go to work boards. And you can see here, we've set up work boards under these categories. So these are the functions for our company. And you can see we've got 6 work boards under product, sales and onboarding. We've got like 2 CRM work boards, marketing, we've got a bunch of stuff happening. And then under support, we've got 2, and then corporate, we've got a few things. We've got a corporate work board. So I'll give you an example here. So under our corporate work board, which is top secret. So this is limited visibility internally in the company. Only a few people can see this. And this is where we're running all of the corporate aspects. So governance, key partner commercials, all the financials, any grants we're going for, and then intellectual property. So if I go to monthly accounts, for example, and I go into the related tab, you can see here, I've got different setups with different people that I'm collaborating on below this. So this is that hierarchy of content. And again, you can carry the security levels down. So it's secret, and you'll see all of these are secret as well. So if I go here and open this up, so now we're on a task below, and you can see there's a checklist for this person, and I've done some finance work yesterday. But here's a live example of onboarding, right? So we have people in we're more than 3 countries, but in terms of regular folks, we're in 3 countries. And you can see here, you know, hi Claire, I've just got this copy paste now, I just reuse it, but welcome to stratapp. I don't use email. There's no internal email in our company. Everything, all the collaboration is around the work, as you see, right? So no chat channels. We have chat channels for, you could use Teams, Slack, we use WhatsApp, doesn't matter what you use. You have chat channels for just random chat, right? I'm going to be late. Can you guys do 2 o'clock tomorrow? Anyone want to go for a drink on Friday? But all of our other conversations take place around the work. And the reason for that is it means when you onboard someone like we can here, what does it say here? You'll see the conversations here in stratapp are nested. But she can see now, she's joined, she can see, I won't scroll up, it's fairly confidential information, but she's got the whole history. Let me do it quick. She's got the whole history. So she's come into this role to do the bookkeeping for us, and she can see all the history in one place. So I've actually never spoken to her. She started last week. She's doing a great job. And I know the supervisors, Trisha's a supervisor. And so she just joined this card. She's got a checklist. She can see it belongs to the monthly accounts, and that belongs to our corporate work board. She can't work her way up there. All she can participate in and see actually content-wise is this card that I've added to her to as a guest user. Now, with guests and member users, so if you've got partners you work with a lot, or contractors or marketing agencies and things, you probably want to make them member users, because we want them to feel part of the strategy, what we're building. We want them really involved. So if I go to the live org chart, you'll see it's a mix of in-house resources, but in a couple of cases, these 3 here, this is an agency we've worked with for a long time in the Philippines. They're really part of the company, and we want them seeing the strategy. They can't see things we lock down that are confidential, but we want this, you know, cross-border, multicultural, different expertise, working on different things. And just about everyone here are director employees, but some are contractors or specialists. This person's a gun that just comes in and solves specific problems on HubSpot, works under Ping. And like I said before, this is an agency that we've worked consistently with these 3 people for a long time. So yeah, so it depends. Whereas the bookkeeper is normally just a guest user with access only to what they need to see. It just depends on the context, how you want to motivate and engage people. But the onboarding's the same. So we don't do training, we just add them and they see the nav and they're almost insulted if we go to give them training, right? Particularly the younger tech savvy crews. So, and because the content's already in the app, it's not empty because they're joining an org that exists, it's easy for them to see their way around, and then they become members and get notifications on the things that are relevant to them anyway, right? So that's automatic. Okay, let me stay on point. So let's go back to the work boards and the categories. So we had a look, we went down into this functional work board and we drilled down, right? So we also, encourage you to set up work boards by function. So we have obviously, in terms of ongoing work, we have a lot of ongoing marketing work, which we've broken up into these categories. It'll be different for different companies. This really works well for us. And then as I showed you in the slide over here, there's all this hierarchy of content happening below and everything rolls up and you can keep track of everything automatically. So we've got different teams working on these different work boards. And then you can also create, same this hierarchy of content, work boards for one-off things, one-off initiatives. And of course, we've got a work board preparing this go-to-market launch of our Me offering, our time management for individuals. This is our freemium. This is our goal to pop the company globally, having stabilized the product through 3 years of R&D with all of you wonderful people around the world, right? So many people have given us ideas and feedback that have gone into this product. It's been magic. So now our next innovation is to launch this Me offering, time management for individuals. It's going to be free. And let's take July, and we've got here this, one of the things we have to do, task on this, refer a friend. You can see I made a start. And then of course, someone's come in and done a much better job and said, hey, we should look at banking apps in Asia. They do a really great refer a friend things. And if I go down here in Dent, you can see she's put a whole lot of examples from different banks in Asia. Fantastic work, right? So So she's clearly better at it than me, right? So let's just create a task here. Say, please apply this thinking to create V2 of the, let's write it aloud so it's got contact, refer a friend, and I'm actually going to give that back to Ping. And it's not urgent, so, but it's great to set due dates for things, right? So we might just go for next Wednesday, and I can decide whether everyone's going to be a member of this, because it's going to create its own card now below. I was trying to show you the hierarchies of content. So not everyone who's a member of the launch needs to get down into this level of detail. So I'll untick that. So yeah, this is, remember the 11 points of social. So, if I tag something, a task, a risk, or an idea, it creates its own card. And that becomes its own workspace, which is sitting below. So let's just go up a step. So we've got the workboard was the launch, the go-to-market. We were looking at this task, which was sitting in the list for July. And then there's some great feedback here and innovation, which is better than my thinking. So then I've asked, hey, can you please apply that to my thinking? If I open this task up, now it's its own workspace. So as she's progressing this, you can see she's the owner, and there's the due date. And it's got these org design properties inherited from the parent automatically. So everything going on here now is going to have its own space, and she can add other people here to collaborate as guests or internal users to get this piece done. And the work has context. And again, all of the conversations now around this V2 are going to take place here, not on a chat channel. And we certainly don't have email. Sackable offense. Am I allowed to say that in this political correct world? So yeah, you don't last long if you send me emails internally after being asked not to. So it's really culturally something we just don't want, internal email and thread, CC, reply, all that behavior. It's all gone. All of our communication internally is inside the app. Okay, I'm rambling. So what did I just show you? We went through workboards by key functions, and you can take a screenshot of some of these, particularly this one you might find useful just to replicate when you install the app, just replicate this. Remembering in stratapp the content hierarchies make this unique, plus the way the social conversations roll up, and they've got the structure, right? Decisions, approvals, particularly important for things like resolutions, which we had one today. And so you've got workboards by function, and then you've also got workboards for, and you can star them. So I've probably got that starred. Yep, I have. So these are ones I'm going to all the time in my role. And you can also do workboards for initiatives. So if I go back here, back to the point, right? So managing functions, strategic versus ongoing work, how to do the onboarding really quickly. So when people join these workboards, so sometimes we swap, another example actually under marketing, we swapped out the lead design and video graphics. So again, no conversations, just drop them straight into this workboard, and they can see all the assets, the history, random chat, and all of the work that was done previously and how it was done, right? So yes, you've just got, so then the new person's in here, which is Venus, and she's taken over. And again, no onboarding, no explanation, just we said, right, here it is, you've got the skills, we've added, went through the recruitment process, added it straight in, the person started working and was immediately effective and could see all the history, not just the history of work, but even the conversations that are taking place around the work. Maybe I can pick one. Chris Latham, famous rugby player. So Australian Wallaby, if you're into rugby, wonderful man too. And yeah, there you go, right? There's all the sort of history of going around getting the conversation. So when the new person comes in, they're immediately effective. They get the tone, who was responsible, how things were done in the past, and they just slot straight in and away they go. Okay, what else was on the agenda? Yeah, just making this work. So this is the future, right? So not just working from home or going to the office 2 days a week. It's also about being able to work cross borders, cross time zones, and everything else. And I think having a workspace that brings strategy to quarterly focus, to tracking risks, and again, you can capture those risks in the conversations as you can ideas. I didn't show you that, but I could, I guess. So let's go back into this. Refer a friend. And one of the risks we've got with this is could be difficult to build on a desktop, might have to be in-app. So yeah, if we're going to connect, refer a friend to your LinkedIn, your contacts, your Facebook friends, Messenger, I think some of these apps, yeah, that's what she was saying there. So QR code use, etc. It's probably going to have to be part of our app rather than the original concept was we're going to click out of the app into a responsive web page. So there you go. So now I've identified that risk, and that's a risk. We can see it in this context, and we'll be able to see it also under related. So it's going to sit there under related, but it's also going to be on our risk page. So if I went to our risk page, I'm not going to show you all our company risks, but if I clicked on that, it would be there, and we'll be able to manage it through the pipeline. And I think there's 10 attributes, not 11, 10 attributes of risk management, and you know, probability, impact, mitigations, ownership, etc. So all of that again is pre-configured, same user experience. So therefore, we actually do risk management. We all would do risk management if it was easier and not an admin thing. So when you make it part of your day-to-day like that, and it's just another card inside stratapp, and you assign ownership like you would anything else, people are more receptive to receiving ownership and actually mitigating the risk. And you've got the context and you've got that tracking. Same with ideas and challenges. You can run challenges to crowdsource ideas, solve problems, and also just all of the ideas across all the conversations across all of the app roll up into a central place where you can manage the idea funnel and the stages, and people get that feedback of what you're actioning, improving, and so forth. And you don't miss anything, right? So just an idea could come from anywhere that has an impact on the company, as it does for us. Okay, so hopefully I've really covered those dimensions for you, right? So how to manage the strategy and engage people on the strategy workspace at each node in the tree, how the strategy then goes to your OKRs page, right? I'll just collapse that so it's not so messy. So we've got 2 objectives for the quarter. This is what's really important for us. And then under those, we've set our key results, right? Who's working on what are we got to get done? So that's the strategic piece, and everyone's involved. It's all powered by org design, so you can filter down by teams or just the things you own really easily. Showed you the org design. And then for functions, you set up, we recommend setting up workboards for the functions, right? So you've got workboards by function, and then also creating workboards for specific one-off initiatives. So our big one-off initiative is launching this Me offering, and there's a whole workboard for that. And you can drill down below each card on this workboard, and there's a whole bunch of stuff taking place below it. So everyone has context. And then of course that task I gave Ping is going to hit her private workspace on upcoming, right? So her upcoming page for next Wednesday is going to have that thing as due, and she can be working on that and see what's coming. All powered by live org chart, bunch of other stuff. Man, I could get in here. Let's look at what Ping, Sly and Ping are working on. And I can see, right, this is the stuff they're working on now. Some of it's a bit late. Okay, that's why they're a bit busy and not getting back to me. So there's a bunch of other things that are going to be useful for you as well. So who's working on what? And of course, what you can see there is subject to confidentiality. So if they've got something confidential, even though I'm this guy at the top there, I wouldn't be able to see it, right? We still respect confidentiality down through the app. Really important. And our AI functionality will do the same, right? So we'll do coaching at individual, team, and company level powered by AI, but we'll really protect the privacy of the individual and how we aggregate those insights and conclusions. So, because we want all levels of the company to love the app, recommend the app, and then when they go to the next company, say, hey, you guys should really be using this. My last company used stratapp, and it included everyone on strategic and daily work in a way that everyone was happy with. So thanks very much. It's July, that's the webinar, and I'll see you next month. I should be back in Australia by then, and look forward to talking to you then.